Look, being a cat's tough. It's not easy. I got to put up with licking myself. Being a cat is serious business, okay? I don't have time for that. Oh, wait. Wait up. Take that, and that, and yeah, and yeah. I got it. So, have you ever wondered what animals are thinking or your pet's thinking when you look at them and they just look back at you like, Well, they're probably not thinking much because they're saying, So, you can add your own intuition and thought to them by getting After Effects out and, you know what, adding mouth movement and making them talk and make them say whatever the heck you want them to say because, you know what, you are the man and or woman. So, let's manipulate our cat's emotions and thoughts today, or dogs, depending. It doesn't really matter. So this is my cat, Newman. It's a she. Funny story behind that. When we first got her, she was a very small kitten, and so small, in fact, that we couldn't really see many of the minor details, if you know what I mean. So we thought she was a he. Turns out he was actually she, so she is currently Newman, which is a he name, but it should have been she. We name our cats consecutively, after the Seinfeld series because, you know, it's a good series. So let's get into the meat of this tutorial, shall we? Of course, the tutorial is a metaphorical bologna sandwich, and now we are going to add the bologna to our sandwich. Okay, I've created a new comp here, and as you can see, it's ready to go. And I've already opened up my motion tracking data because you're going to be using motion tracking a lot. In fact, twice. So, open up your motion tracking workspace or go up to Window Motion Tracker. And first track we're going to do. Let's do it right now. Go up to Layer, New, Null Object. This is going to be our standard track motion track. Click your source layer and click Track Motion. Then select Rotation and make sure to move your points to the ends of the eyes or somewhere with high contrast. The area on the nose there, if you can see, would work right here and right here. And we're just going to drag this out, move it in a little. We're going to drag this out, move it in a little. And then we're going to track that. Of course, I'm not going to track that right now because that's just going to take a while, and you don't want to see that. So I'm just going to deselect that. And I've already brought in my null that we're going to use for this layer, but make sure to click on Edit Target under Motion Target and make sure it's your null that is selected. So I'm just going to delete this here. And as you can see, I've renamed it Mouth Data. And as you can see, all our fun keyframes are right here. Okay. Oh, it's a cat. Okay, now that we have our mouth data track, and we call this mouth data because we're going to be using this track for the inside of Newman's mouth here, so it'll follow her. I'm just going to close out of this because this is just my layer. What we're going to do is we're going to select our main layer, and we're going to go to a point in time where my cat luckily opened her mouth. Now, if this doesn't actually happen, because I'm sure it won't, this was a stroke of luck here. Right there. See, that's awesome. You can actually probably just find an image on Google and rough it, or you can even just use red because it'll work. Okay, Command D or Control D to duplicate the layer, and make sure to rename this layer to mouth underscore inside. And then go up to your pen tool, and we're just going to create a quick garbage mask with the mouth inside layer selected around the open mouth. Then what you're going to do, if your footage is actually moving like mine is, you're just going to right-click on it, go to Time, Freeze Frame. Then just move that layer underneath, and actually you're going to want to mark that space in time. So just for future reference. With the layer selected, click the star on your numpad, and that'll just mark it. As you can see here, it's down here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there right here. Voila. You'll probably want to watch this in HD if you can, because it'll probably make your viewing experience easier. All right, so we have our basic track now. Now it's time to get fancy with the Cheese Whiz, and we're going to create a epic reverse track. Whew. So what you're going to do is you're going to select your main layer, not the mouth inside one. We're going to actually turn that one off so we can't see it yet. Go up to Layer, Pre-Compose. and rename it something like, oh, I don't know, cat pre-comp. Okay, it'll open it up, and if it doesn't, you can alt double click on it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to select the inside of this layer, and we're going to click stabilize motion. Essentially what a reverse motion track is it's keeping the data within your layer, but your layer actually doesn't move around. The data is still there, but any effects on that layer will actually move around, like the liquefy tool or any distortion effects will move around. So your layer thinks it's moving, but it's actually not. You got to trick the layer, stick it to the man. So click on rotation again, and just track the points on the eyes. Now, for your sake, I'm not going to do that. Make sure that you click apply at the end. But once again, I've already have it ready. And I'm just going to open up my original pre-comp. This is important. Okay, actually, it's not important to you. So I'm just going to open this up. Make sure it opens. Yeah, reverse motion tracking. It's a hard concept to understand. Oh, double-clicked on there accidentally. It's a hard concept to understand, but you know, you'll get your idea or your head around the idea once you actually do it. So I have my pre-comp here, and let me replace the pre-comp that I made for this tutorial with this pre-comp, because this is actually important that it's actually the same pre-comp. So let me just drag it back in there. That shouldn't matter for you, though, so don't worry about that too much. So as you can see, if you go back to the original layer, your layer is all moving around your animal head, and the layer is moving right now, but the cat's head is not. We actually want to reverse that, keep the data of the movement, and make sure the layer doesn't move around. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our pre-comp, and what I did here is actually I want to give myself some room so I can have the whole layer. Go to composition settings, right click on the layer, go to composition settings, and I cranked my size up to 2500 because I'm in full HD right now, 1920 by 1080. So you'll probably want to, if you're in DV, crank it up to 1000 and make sure to lock aspect ratio, and that'll be okay. Now what you're going to do is click and hold your composition, and you'll see all these blue boxes, and you just move it into that box right there. What that'll do is put that one on top of the other so you can see both at the same time. Now, I'm sure you've seen this technique elsewhere. I've learned it elsewhere, but you know what? Why reinvent the wheel for what we're going to do today? And this tutorial goes into a lot of other concepts that I haven't seen out there, but you know what? Once again, why reinvent the wheel? So go to your tutorial, or I'm sorry, your main layer. Click, press P with the pre-comp selected down here, not within your actual pre-comp, but on your pre-comp layer in your main composition. Whew, getting tough to explain. Click P, that'll open up position. Hold Shift, click R, and then click A. And those should load up pretty soon here. I'm just going to drag that up a little further because we're going to need some room. And let me keep dragging those up. Okay, what we're going to do is right now we're going to do some quick expressions here, and we shall do them quickly. So let me explain a few things. Anchor point is the opposite of position. Rotation, we're going to have to make it opposite, and position is the opposite of anchor point. All right, you'll find out why in just a sec, because we're going to get rid of the motion but keep the data. Here we go. I'll click on your position that doesn't have any keyframes on it, which is the pre-comp face down here, but not the one that is not within the actual pre-comp. So Alt click on position, and then we're just going to grab the pick whip, which is symbolized by a little swirl, drag it up to anchor point. Done. All right. Click elsewhere. Alt click on anchor point, drag that up to position. Done. Now we're running out of opposites here, but that's okay. Alt click on rotation, drag it up to rotation, and we're just going to inverse it by typing in a simple math equation. If you've ever taken Algebra 1 or 2, you probably know what this does. Times, symbolized by the star, and then -1. So times -1. Well, that should be typing in right now. Times -1. Oh, don't you just love it? Shift times -1. Okay, let me just exit out of that. Sometimes my After Effects gets a little freaky on me. Let me just save up here real quick. That's always a good idea, by the way. Save whenever you can, especially if your computer's a little untrustworthy sometimes. Save, save, save. I cannot emphasize that enough. So once again, just let me redo this. Alt-click on rotation. Then just drag the pick whip up to rotation. And what you're going to do is you're going to type in star -1. There we go. My keyboard worked. Yay. That should work. That should be a given. And then just click elsewhere. Now, watch this. This is cool. It's not something you can show to your friends just yet. Look, the layer doesn't move. Brilliant, right? Okay, now we're going to get into the fun part. So I'm going to go back to my standard workspace just so I can get a little more room with what I'm doing. Just give myself a little room here. Now, let's get into the actual mouth part of the tutorial. So go to a point where, okay, we need to drag in our audio that we're going to be using for the speech. So if you have some pre-recorded audio, that's great, or if you're using it from the footage, you'll probably do the same thing here. So let me just drag in my audio, if it's up here. Yep, here it is, Newman MP3, used one time. Drag it in. And what you're going to do is you're going to find a point in time where you want to use it. You're going to right-click on it, and you're going to go to Keyframe Assistant, Convert Audio to Keyframes. That takes just a bit, so I'm going to delete that, and I'm just going to copy it over from my other footage. Good thing I have this already done for you guys. And then we're just going to pop it in there. That's our audio amplitude. It's all ready to go. And we're going to use that in just a sec. Okay, go up to Effect Controls, click on your pre-comp, right-click, and we're going to go to Distort, and we're going to go to Liquify. Now we're going to use actually a few Liquify effects here. This is the first one. We're going to straighten out Newman's mouth here. We're going to make it straight so it'll be easier and a more believable effect. And you get to see the cool part of this effect in just a sec. So just crank up your brush size here and your brush pressure. And I'm just going to drag her mouth down a little. Now watch. That distortion will now stay with the whole layer because it's reversed, which is pretty sweet. And you can go to other points in time and click Distortion Mesh, the stopwatch for it over here, and just make sure you can adjust it accordingly. Just go back a little, straighten it out. Cool beans. Okay. Now, close the Liquify effect. I mean, don't turn it off, but close it a little. Right-click again, go to Distort, and we're going to go to CC Split. This is your talking mouth effect. Okay, click point A, put it here. Click point B, put it here. Now, here's what you're thinking. Well, those are just going to stay there, right? If you know anything about After Effects, that's normally what happens. But watch. Since the data's there, it moves with it. Cool. All right, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to link the split to our audio amplitude. And if your audio amplitude isn't loud enough, you can actually type in an expression to make it a little louder. You go to your channels here by clicking U, and you can alt-click on it. Let's see here. Alt-click on it, and you can just put in star 20, and that makes it louder. I mean, it doesn't make it louder, literally. It just makes the keyframes bigger. But we don't need to do that. So once again, let's drag this up a little so we have some room to work with. Just doing a bunch of expressions here. And they're really helpful if you get them down. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our pre-comp again. We're going to alt-click on split up here in the effect controls. And we're just going to pick whip it all the way up to slider for both channels, because that's in your audio amplitude already. Click down. Now watch the magic unfold. Look at that. You'll have a little problems with the alignment here, so you may want to actually make Newman's mouth a little bigger. And actually, let's go in there and to do a times. Let's multiply it a little. Oops, my bad. We're going to want to do times probably 5 or so. And there you go. You can see her mouth moving. And it actually moves with the audio. Now, of course, this effect can be perfected. I wasn't using a perfect track here, and as you can see, there's little problems with her mouth. So you can actually go back into the mouth or the pre-comp, and you can do the stopwatch for point A and B. You can just move them accordingly so they don't get out of line, and just do a little tailoring here and there because it's not always going to be perfect, and you're going to have to do some manual stuff. But that's how it goes. Okay. Let's pretend we just did all the manual stuff for it. Now, I turned off my mouth inside layer, but I'm going to turn it back on. And let's see if I freeze framed it or not. What we got to do is actually we got to go to the point in time that we marked. We freeze framed it at. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pick whip it to our mouth data. We should have done that probably beforehand, but now that it's pick whipped, life's better. Now, we have a little weird mutation here. That's okay, though. Can fix that later. And now, your cat or dog or fish is talking. And that's pretty freaking sweet, if I say so myself. Of course, you can go through once again and see we got a little weird skewing here. That's what happens when you distort stuff. And we're just going to move those up. Up. And it's probably one of the coolest things I've ever made, you know, just my cat talk. I'm not going to lie. I think it's pretty sweet. And there you go. Your animal is talking. And yeah, your mouth inside, you're going to probably want to scale that up because you're going to get the fur and stuff caught within it, so you don't want that to happen. And just scale it up. And make sure it moves with it. Good stuff. All right, so let's add some expression to our cat because, you know, who doesn't want expressions on a cat? So right-click on your effect controls, go to Distort, Liquify again. The effect's called Liquify, not Liquify again, but, you know, you get what I'm saying. Go to your Warp Tools and click the finger. Very technical name. And turn up the brush, or turn down the brush size a bit and turn up the brush pressure, at least for me. And click the distortion mesh stopwatch, and then let's give her a little frown here or something. Actually, let's turn back up the brush size and the brush pressure. Crank it up. And let's just give her a little frown. Now the cool thing, once again, is it follows it, so it's just really, it's simple. Once you got the expressions out of the way, you can pretty much do whatever you want to the face. And you always want to make sure that the face doesn't turn too far to the left or whatever, because then you get a little weird distortions and stuff. See, like, that's a very big mouth. I may want to turn that expression down, but I won't. You can give, like, the smirk here, like, I'm disapproving of you, or the wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. There are technical names for this. You can actually, now the effect is on top of the CC split, so you can actually distort the split into a smile, like so. And so you can manipulate all sorts of emotions with just a few effects, and it's pretty awesome. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. I hope you learned something today. This was a lot of fun, actually, to put together, because I got to film my cat, and well, essentially the only reason she was looking at the camera was that I was holding some little Nerf bullet tied to a string so that she would just watch it. It's pretty funny. So yeah, it was a lot of fun making the effect, and it was a lot of fun figuring it out. I haven't had a kind of a challenge like that in a while. It's been good to have a little challenge and to share it with you guys. So thanks for watching, and you guys have a great new year. I haven't got to say that to you guys yet. And stay tuned for, you know, upcoming tutorials, videos. I've been working a little on the script for the Resistance. I've been a little busy, but hopefully the third one will come out and it will be sheer epicness. Maybe. We'll see. We don't know. So, my name's Daniel Reynolds. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good day.